an FBI agent being asked to doctor evidence, an FBI agent being ordered to destroy evidence. She, female FBI agent, also revealed that her colleagues were spying on one of the defendants in his jail cell when his lawyer came to visit him. Now, since they did that without a search warrant, that's a felony. That's actually several felonies because it interferes with the attorney-client relationship, the attorney-client privilege. It's some sort of computer hacking, and then it's an invasion of privacy all at once. But don't expect the FBI to be prosecuted. The only time the feds prosecute their own is when there's a money element, when a rogue FBI agent spills the beans and has his pocketbook line. And there are some instances, very few, but there are some instances of that. But when the government breaks its own laws, violates the Constitution in order to help get a conviction, particularly in a case where the government itself is portrayed as the victim, anything goes. These people know they're not going to be prosecuted and they're not going to be punished. And this has been going on for a generation of FBI agents.
Does this surprise you, the extent of what appears to be set-up jobs, frame jobs? I told you just there about George Tanios. No real evidence against him for this Brian Sicknick murder or assault or anything, and he sits in jail for 5.5 months. Now you got the Proud Boys case with destruction and fabrication and spying on attorney-client privilege. Have you ever seen it this prolific?
No, I haven't seen it this bad in one case. I've probably tried over 150 jury trials in my career and thousands of other matters. Criminal and civil. I've not seen it this bad. But you have a Justice Department determined to make examples out of people, whether there's a case against them or not. Take, for example, these Proud Boys. They're charged with sedition. Sedition is a conspiracy to overthrow the government by force. There's 5 of them. How could 5 human beings possibly overthrow the government of the United States of America by force? So they have charged a conspiracy that was impossible to consummate. Why? Because they didn't like the thought processes of the defendants. How did they know what the defendants were saying to each other? None of them was present on January 6th at the Capitol building. How did they know what they were saying to each other? You guessed it. They had an undercover agent embedded in their group who egged them on. And that's the basis of the allegations against them. Well, that's a thought crime being processed. They talked about how they hate the government and wish that it wouldn't be handed over to Joe Biden and wish that Donald Trump would still be president because they honestly believed that he was elected. The government cannot prosecute you because you entertain thoughts that are critical of the government. And that's what's happening here.
And it is interesting that the FBI agent, one of them that oversaw the Gretchen Whitmer case and the whole kind of setup job there of the kidnapping plot, then goes to Washington. And now he's involved in all the January 6th stuff. When you see all of these things, what's your gut feeling, Judge, when you look at, people egging people on that have not been prosecuted? You had somebody on the most wanted list that is miraculously taken off. Do you think there were feds involved there to gin up this crowd?
Oh, I think it's almost a certainty that feds were in there to gin up the crowd. Every time members of Congress, ask Jim Jordan, every time members of Congress have asked Chris Wray about this or the Attorney General, they've refused to answer because they know the consequences of lying under oath. They're not going to lie. They also know the consequences of revealing these unlawful methods that the FBI has engaged in. The American public simply wouldn't tolerate it.